Let's talk now to Dalia Cusnir Horn. She's a sister-in-law of two hostages in Israel. Her brother-in-law Ian Horn was released back in, I think, after 498 days. Eitan Horn is still in captivity and has been for 730 days. An extraordinary story. Dalia, a very good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you very much for talking to us. I mean, obviously, the second anniversary of October the 7th must bring back some terrible memories for you. Tell us how you're feeling today.
That's a tough question. On one hand, I was just imagining myself 2 years ago, and I think that at this moment of the day, we already lost contact with my two brothers-in-law. Apparently, they were kidnapped at around 7:30 in the morning. The attack started at 6:30, and we were trying to call whoever at the community, trying to understand where they are. And I'm standing in my home in the center of Israel. We have to run to the shelter every second because of the alarms and the rockets. And I'm trying to stop my husband because he understands that his only two siblings just disappeared right now. He has no idea where they are. He's with the car keys, and I'm at the door crying, saying, please don't drive there, because if you'll go, you'll never come back.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm still stuck at that moment 2 years ago, and I believe that until the last hostage will be back home, we won't be able to move on from that day.
No, of course. And when did you find out that the two brothers had been, in fact, kidnapped?
So for the entire day, we just kept calling people, asking them, to help us. We call a neighbor and we say, can you just open the window? We had no clue what's going on, apparently. And the neighbor was screaming at us, saying that he's holding the door and trying to, save his kids. At night, when the terrorists left the kibbutz, the army arrived and they just called us and told us that they're not there, but they didn't say where they are. And the first moment actually we knew was November 25th. Until November 25th, we just knew they disappeared. We could not understand how two big men like them disappear all of a sudden, and there's nothing, no footage, nothing about them. November 25th, the first hostage deal, the woman and the kids from the same community are coming back from Gaza, and from the hospital at the same night, they're calling us and they say that Yair and Eitan, both of them, were abducted. They are alive. They were at the tunnels with them. The good part was that they told us they were not injured during the abduction.
Right.
And that was the first moment we for sure knew that they are alive.
Right. And did you ever imagine that still 2 years on, one of them would still be in captivity?
No, never, ever. I never thought that Israel would be in a war 2 years after. I never thought that human beings, in the Western world, democratic countries that we're living in Israel, I never thought it's so many days after.
Yeah.
And we'll be still fighting for them.
And you got ER back, obviously, after, 498 days. How is he doing?
He's doing very bad. He walks around saying that he's still hostage in Gaza, just that his body is in Israel physically. And since the first day he was released on February 15th, it was a Saturday, around noon he arrived to the hospital in Tel Aviv. And a few years out after, he calls me to the room, he closed the door, he looks at me and he says, I need to save all the others. What can I do? And I told him, Yair, stop, you need to take care of yourself. He lost like 30 kilos. He was very sick. He had so many things. And he said, I'm not willing to see any doctor. Don't send me a psychologist. I need to save the others. They have no time.
Yeah.
And I think that, we're saying all the time they have no time. But when you hear him, that he was actually there and he tells you about the horrible conditions and the torture and the starvation, and when he says they have no time, it's stronger. So
Right.
He's actually in Washington, D.C. Right now. Today they're going to be meeting many people from the cabinet of the U.S. government, trying to push forward and to do whatever they can.
And are you hopeful that this manoeuvring now, currently having talks in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, I'm hopeful that that's going to come to something?
Yes. I think for the first time in a long time, we're very hopeful. We trust President Trump and his commitment to solve this crisis. At the same time, I must admit we're frightened because, you know, every time you hope and you let yourself be kind of positive and imagine the moment, because I can feel in my body the moment that I'm hugging Eitan.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I know that if it falls this time, it's destructive. And I don't know what else can we do. So
Yeah.
we need the entire, you know, international support to make this happen, to put more pressure on Hamas to sign it this time, to stop their lies and just to release the hostages and end the war.
And was Aya with Eitan in captivity? Did they see each other or were they separated?
Yeah, so they were taken separately because Yair, when they shut his safe room's door, he decided that he's gonna go outside with his hands up, you know, kind of saying, "Take me."
Yeah.
And he asked Eitan to just stand on the side. Maybe they won't see him. So he was taken alone, and apparently an hour later or half an hour later, they came for Eitan. For the first 2 months, they were separated. And after the first hostage deal, they put them together. So most of the time they spent together. And actually, I think that's one of the main reasons that both of them are still alive, because they took care of each other and they had this special bond. And when they were suffering or starving, they were starving together. I know it sounds horrible, but...
Yeah, I know. It's awful. Can't bear thinking about it, really. And Eitan, are you hopeful that he's still alive, or do you know if he is?
According to the army, he's still alive. He's part of the 20 hostages that are alive. But let me tell you something personally. I know my brother-in-law, and Eitan in Hebrew means strength. So I know he's alive. I know he's counting on us. I know he knows that we're gonna save them. I'm always afraid, you know, I'm afraid that all the hostages that are still living this horrible nightmare might get very angry with us, you know. I imagine myself saying, how come you didn't do anything earlier? And, you know, we've been doing since day one, but it was not enough. We failed on them, but he's alive and I know he's coming back. And I really hope that it's going to be this week.
Yeah.
And
that would be amazing.
Start rebuilding the future, you know, not only for us, for the entire region.
Of course. Well, we wish you all the best, Dalia. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Dalia Cusnir Horn, their sister-in-law of 2 hostages, one already released, but, you know, suffering terribly, and Eitan, her brother-in-law, still in captivity, she thinks.